NXT's Halloween Havoc 2025 had 6 matches with 3 title changes that pretty much set up what could have been a significant show. Now, the card had 2 North American title matches with stipulations, a women's title match, a tag team title broken rules match, and the NXT title match in the main event. So was it possible that NXT could deliver with this lineup? Well, the answer became clear as the night progressed in ways that some may have expected. The opener with Parka and Mr. Iguana against Javon Evans and Leon Slater had a pace that served the crowd, pretty much utilizing their individual styles and meshing them together through your typical tag team formula. They got good time to work with and achieved some crowd investment, so the match functioned exactly as you want an opener to function. But the problem was, everything stayed within predictable territory, hitting standard moves without anything memorable in how they built it or structured the pacing. The meshing I thought was fine, but you could see everything coming. So despite the solid execution, nothing really elevated this beyond a routine opening tag match. So at 3.5 stars, this did its job without leaving any lasting impression. Now heading into the North American title match, would this Day of the Dead stipulation add anything meaningful? Well, let me tell you, that answer came fast. Ethan Page defended against El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. in what was billed as a Day of the Dead match, but the stipulation turned to be just dim lights and hardcore rules. Now, the structure at the start wasn't really grabbing me, even though they was working hard to make it so. I thought this dragged through the opening portion without finding any real momentum here. However, when Page started ripping Wagner's mask off and the way Wagner reacted here, that's when I thought the match finally found its turning point. The weapon usage from that point I thought was well done, and they salvaged something from a match that was struggling at times. The thing is though, even without the dragon, this was only going to be slightly better because the foundation just wasn't there. So at 3.25 stars, the mask stuff worked, and the weapon usage saved us from being worse. But the Day of the Dead gimmick was just window dressing on a standard hardcore match. Now, depending on who you are, you probably didn't expect how badly the women's division would crater on this show, and boy did it ever. Zaria against Blake Monroe for the NXT Women's North American title was so mid, from the layout to the execution. The structure wasn't clicking from the start, and it failed to connect before Sol Roca even got involved. But then, Sol became way too involved, and it turned into the worst element of this entire match. So the booking went from bad to just downright stupid, with the execution being even worse. The match wasn't working on any level, to the point where the crowd was chanting for Booker T, which tells you everything about how disengaged they were. Just nothing worked here. Not the structure, not the involvement, not the execution. This became one of those matches where you was just waiting for it to end. And at just 1.75 stars, this sucked and dragged the entire show with it. Oh, but we're not done with the women yet. Oh, no. Because what happened next show how good work can get buried by idiotic booking. Jacy Jayne defended the NXT Women's title against Tatum Paxley, and the crowd was very invested in Tatum winning, setting up what should have been a big deal moment. Now, Jacy, I thought she did a good job carrying the match, and the crowd wanted this, so you had those ingredients for something special. But the booking was just idiotic, stupid, ridiculous. From one hand, from ringside, you had calling and Fatal Inference being ejected, only to bring the calling back anyway, so the entire setup for just a straight match with Tatum and Jacy just got thrown out the window. Then Izzy Dame tried to hit Tatum with the belt, leading to Tatum winning. But all this felt so forced and manufactured instead of a genuine display on what they was trying to do, which was stupid to begin with. The way this played out squandered the crowd investment and made what should have been a big deal, but it just ends up feeling cheap. So Jacy's strong work and Tatum being able to get carried in this match just got wasted here. At 3.25 stars, this was a good match, but it was held back significantly by horrendous booking. Fortunately though, the tag title match offered some reset, and the question was going into this match if the Hardys could lead DarkState through a successful title change. The Hardy Boyz defended against DarkState in a broken rules match that was basically a hardcore match under a different name. Now they had time to develop the structure, and the pacing worked throughout, with the Hardys leading the way, while DarkState was capable of following their lead. The hardcore spots I thought were cool, and the action was decent with good effort from everyone, so this pretty much functioned as a solid match. But the broken rules match stipulation offered nothing unique beyond the hardcore match label. And while the title change was executed very well and decisively, the match needed the veterans doing all the heavy lifting, which is expected. So at 3.5 stars, this was the best match on the show, with good structure and a decisive finish, though it never elevated beyond that. That left the main event, where Ricky Saints defended the NXT title against Trick Williams, and this is where the show completely ran out of steam. The structure and layout and execution just wasn't there for me, so I couldn't really get into this match at all. Now, Trick Williams matches are just very average to watch, and this did nothing to change that perception for me. So the match came off very routine, like I was watching an NXT TV main event instead of a pay-per-view title match. Now, I gave it a chance through the middle, but the escalation never came. The thing is, everything about this felt off. The structure, Williams' average work, the lack of anything special. So this was just there, taking up time in the main event slot. So at 2.5 stars, this match felt like a weekly television main event that got lost on pay-per-view. NXT's Halloween Havoc 2025 gets a 6.5 out of 10 for me. A pretty weak show. The show peaked at 3.5 stars with the opener and the tag title match, but declined from their just ridiculous match in the North American title match with the women, and also the idiotic booking hurting the NXT women's title match, and plus the main event that felt routine and average. 3 stars rated 3.25 or below. Nothing exceptional happened, and the booking decisions in multiple matches ranged from questionable to downright stupid. The Hardy Boyz DarkState match provided the most solid structure, and the decisive title change worked for me, but even that never elevated here. 2 solid matches can't overcome a show with more misses than hits, especially with a main event that you won't remember tomorrow. And once you complete that failure, when you're starting hearing Booker T chants, it's pretty much best to just avoid this show.